All right, what's up everybody? So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at two very differently priced audio interfaces. The first one being the new Motu M2, which will run you $169, and the other audio interface, which is the one that I am currently using right now, the Apollo Twin USB. The price gap between these audio interfaces is by about $800, and I want to see if there's any kind of audible difference between them. Should you go out and spend $900 on an Apollo Twin USB, or spend $169 on the Motu M2 and then spend the rest of that money on other pieces of gear that are going to make a bigger difference than just spending all of your money on an expensive audio interface? We're going to find all that out by the end of this video, so stay tuned everybody. Let's go ahead and jump straight into the video. Now let's just get the most obvious out of the way. If we were to break down the technical specs on the $900 audio interface and the $169 audio interface, of course, this should come as no surprise. The $900 audio interface is going to have much better technical specs. What I want to see though is if that is even distinguishable. If I were to play a clip from the Apollo and a clip from the Motu M2, could you really even tell the difference? Chances are probably not. I want to know if it is worth it to spend that extra $800 and buy an audio interface that is technically industry standard, or if buying a simple $169 Motu M2 is really all you need. Because at the end of the day, there is a lot more that goes into just an audio interface when it comes to getting a good recording. Picking a proper microphone, knowing what you're doing behind the computer, having an external preamp. These are all things that really matter and play a crucial role in just how well your recording is going to actually turn out. With that being said, let me go ahead and explain why I don't think it is necessarily worth it to go out and spend that kind of money on just an audio interface. I think that there are much more that you can buy with that leftover money that are going to make a much bigger difference for your recording than just spending $900 on a industry standard audio interface. So the main reason I don't think it's necessary to go out and spend that kind of money on just your audio interface is because I am a huge advocate when it comes to using external preamps. And as most of you guys already know, I use an Avalon 737 and run that line output into my Apollo. And for those of you who don't know, when you run a line signal into your audio interface, you don't use any gain on your audio interface. Your audio interface is simply just a means to get an analog signal to digital in your computer. However, there is something to be said about the plugins that Universal Audio is releasing. If you want the best analog emulated plugins, it's going to be from Universal Audio. I'm sorry, Waves, but Universal Audio just has you guys beaten. There's no doubt in my mind that the plugins by Universal Audio are leagues ahead better than the Waves plugins. I'm not saying that the Waves plugins are bad. I'm just saying that in comparison to the Universal Audio plugins, they have them beaten. There's just no doubt about that. For those of you who don't know, in order to use the plugins by Universal Audio, you either have to own one of their audio interfaces, or I believe it's the DSP accelerator. So essentially, when you're buying an audio interface from Universal Audio, you're buying your way into the Universal Audio ecosystem. And believe me when I say this, their plugins are world class. In my opinion, the only reason why you should go out and buy an Apollo, and especially if you plan on using an external preamp, the only reason why you should go out and buy an Apollo is if you have your eyes on the plugins by Universal Audio. It's just my opinion that you could take that extra $800 and put it towards other pieces of equipment that are going to make a much bigger difference in your studio than just buying that one very expensive audio interface, like a new microphone, an external preamp. Connect that to your Motu M2 in this case, because like I said, that's my favorite budget audio interface because it's up to par with audio interfaces that are well above $300. Pair that all together, you're going to get much better results than just having your average microphone connected to your one expensive audio interface. So if you plan on connecting other pieces of equipment to your audio interface, like an external preamp, a channel strip, compressor, something of that nature, I would say just save your money, go buy a Motu M2, connect all that gear to your Motu M2, and you're going to get amazing quality. In fact, what I'm going to start doing right now after this, I'm going to connect my whole setup right now. I have the Neumann TLM 103 and the Avalon 737. Instead of running that into the Apollo Twin, I'm going to run that into my Motu M2, and I guarantee that you guys will not hear a difference whatsoever. And that's because, like I said, I'm using the external preamp. My audio interface is simply just a means of transferring the analog signal into my computer. With all that being said, I'm now going to switch over from the Apollo to the Motu M2. And at this point, all our audio interface is doing is simply transferring the analog signal to digital. It's not actually affecting the quality or tone, at least not by anything that will be noticeable. All right, and then this is what it sounds like on the Motu M2. I am running the TLM 103 into my Avalon 737, and then I'm running the line output on the Avalon 737 into my Motu M2. So if you were to skip back and listen to the clips on the Apollo, and then you listen to the clips on the Motu M2, I'm telling you right now, there is no way that you are going to be able to tell the difference. Real fast, let me cover a couple things. If you were to be using a dynamic microphone, one of the more popular ones is the Shure SM7B. If you're using a very gain-hungry microphone, in that case, you would definitely want to be using better preamps. So you would benefit more from the Apollo than you would on the Motu M2. If you were to put the microphone on both audio interfaces, you will run into noise issues quicker on the Motu M2 than you would on the Apollo. However, I don't ever recommend dynamic microphones, as I find the quality not suitable for at least what I am doing. If you're doing like radio and podcasts, well, and in that case, then yeah, I would definitely say using something like a Shure SM7B or an RE20 is probably going to benefit you more than using a condenser microphone. In my case, because I record music and I do videos such as like this, where it's just very basic, sit down in front of the camera, I would more than likely never use a Shure SM7B. I would probably just use my TLM 103. However, if you were just using a standard condenser microphone, it's not going to make a noticeable difference. You're not going to have a crazy just quality change overnight by switching over to the Apollo. If you went from like the Motu, if you went from something like a Behringer Euphoria, the $49, $50 audio interface, and you just upgraded all the way to the Apollo, in that situation, yes, there's going to be a noticeable difference. You're going to have way less noise in your recordings and it'll sound much more clear. So if you plan on connecting other pieces of gear to your audio interface, 100%, no doubt about it, you do not need to go and drop the money on an Apollo. You could 100% get amazing quality connecting to, for example, the Motu M2. If you want to get the best possible quality that you can, I would say invest the money into external preamps. That is 100% the best advice that I can give you right now. Invest the money into that, save the money, don't buy the expensive audio interface, buy a nice budget audio interface such as the Motu M2 or the Scarlett 3rd Gen, and then buy external preamps. There are some great options out there, and you can even possibly get yourself a nice compressor that you can use as well. For me, I will always use my Avalon 737 because it just gives me this really good, pleasant sound without having to do a whole lot. Save your money, buy an external preamp, make sure you get a good one, and then buy a decent audio interface. Again, if you didn't want to buy a Motu M2 or a Scarlett, get an Audient ID14. That's going to run you $300, but you're getting phenomenal preamps. So yeah, guys, that's just been a little demo between the Apollo and the Motu M2. For a future video, I want to try connecting a dynamic microphone instead, and at that point, it's going to be apparent which one is better. And like I said, if you plan on using a dynamic microphone, then yes, 100% just invest the money into a better preamp or audio interface, my bad. Invest the money into a better audio interface because you will get better results 100% on the Apollo than you would on the Motu M2. So I think that's going to wrap it up. Let me know if you guys could hear any kind of difference between the audio interfaces. I really think this video is going to help some of you out. That potential $800 that you save could definitely go towards other pieces of equipment that are going to make a bigger difference in your recordings than just that one very expensive audio interface. So let me know if you guys could hear any differences or if there's just anything that you noticed. I am genuinely curious. But I think that's about it, guys. So that wraps it up. So I will catch you all in my next video. So peace out, everybody.